It's Halloween. Let's do something a little bit spooky, a little bit fun, and something that's just gonna brighten my mood. I wanted to paint something, and I thought, why not make a video about it? I've been going on about wanting to make a number of different videos, and I've not really done anything about it. I've stuck to the same formula, so let's mix it up. We've done orcs earlier in the month. Let's do something else that I actually like, zombies. But first, it's Halloween. And, well, hobby doesn't stop. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to just paint something up without any rhyme or reason or intent, just for the fun of it. And, well, zombies are always cool, but comedy zombies, that's even better. Now, I'm not one to normally have humorous elements in my army, perhaps a little bit with Nurgle, but anyway, that's by the by. I thought it'd be fun to paint up this little guy. It's a zombie chef. How can you not want to paint a zombie chef? Hello, future editing Wayne here. This is going to go on a little bit longer than planned. It was only supposed to be a 10-minute video, but the entire project only took me just over an hour. I've taken a couple of little bits of silences out, but for the most part, this is the real-time painting of this project, so I hope you enjoy it. Have a cup of tea and let me know what you think. Let's get back to it. This model has been sat in my pile of, I'm going to paint it at some point, forever. I don't know what you call that pile. Not a pile of shame, not a pile of potential, just something that's there, and I've never really had the inclination to paint this little guy. But it's such a cool model. It came from a Patreon a while back. I can't remember which one it is. I'll dig it out and put it out down in the description. But I thought this would be a really, really fun one to do a super quick paint job on and just have some fun with. After all of that Slaves to Darkness stuff, doing something to just refresh my palette and get me back into it would be absolutely ideal. Now, I guess first things first is figuring out what we want to do with this. So obviously I've given it a quick black prime all over, and I've come in with some selective highlighting, as I always do, with a little bit of Liquitex white ink. That's my white ink of choice. I prefer it. Now, I'm thinking what I want is this concoction of morbid, tasty culinary delight to be emanating a light and lighting this very good looking gentleman up. So I want to basically paint him quite desaturated, I think, quite dark, and then have any color glowing from this. Now, obviously this little chap, this bowl thing, cauldron, I want this perhaps to be metallic and not have too much detail into it, and lighting almost like an underlight, so putting him perhaps on a little bit of a pedestal, like I say, with a scenic background behind him will work. So let's get some color on this guy. I'm thinking perhaps oils or just washes, and just having fun playing about with some different colors and seeing what we'll come up with. And well, it's no risk in it. Let's just do it. Let's smash it out and have a butcher's at what we can come up with. Right, I'm going to hit it with some slimy grime enamel paint and some of everybody's favorite streaking grime. Right, I've attached this little guy to a paint handle, so let's just get into this now. I'm not going to be too precious about how we do this. We're going to use the reductive technique, and let's see how it goes. I'm afraid the lighting's not going to be the best on this video, but I'll do my best. I'll do my best. Right, let's get some of this on the model. So I'm going to go with green zombie flesh, as you might expect with a zombie. Just over the top of the zenithal highlight, to be honest, and it works really well. This is why I like using white ink. It lets you put the highlights where I actually want them in the first instance without having to think too much about it. Now, that's not to say traditional painting doesn't have its place in my repertoire. It absolutely does. And I do enjoy a bit of traditional painting as well. But sometimes, when you just want to have fun, this is a really nice, easy way of doing it. Obviously, don't make the mistake that I made and jump straight in to painting this dude without putting him on an actual base in the first instance, because it makes it harder, trust me. But for a quick and simple paint scheme like this, a very low risk model, then I'm not going to fuss too much about it. I'm just having fun with it. And sometimes I do forget to do that in my videos, in my hobby. I get caught up with all of the production side of things, and I forget to actually enjoy what I'm doing. So if you saw that video a few weeks back, where I was talking about trying to enjoy things more, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I want to experiment with new techniques, new products, and just start to do something a little bit different. Now I've got the armies out of the way. That's not to say that it wasn't all worth it. It was, because I've got some armies that I can play AOS with now that I don't really have to think too much about, to be honest. I can just whip them out, jobs are good un, sit down, have some fun, and go from there. Nothing to do with needing to paint stuff for a specific event, tournament, or whatever. The armies that I enjoy playing are pretty much complete now. So I can just enjoy having my armies done and picking and choosing actual really fun models and projects that I want to add to elaborate on those forces. Right, straight away, green skin, done, bosh, streaky grime dark. Damn, it's good, it's good. Right, now we've got that out of the way, let's get some other colour on here now. I'm going to come in with some other paints in a second. I'm really starting to lean more towards enamels than acrylics. Unless I'm doing something like busts, I think. I want to definitely, over the next year, play more with enamels and really start to understand and learn how to use them in anger, to be honest, because it's just so much grimmer and darker than some of the other techniques that I've come across. I mean, you can get a similar effect with acrylics, but just not quite as easily, I don't think. All right, let's have this a brown colour as well. I'm tempted to go with it for the skull as well, but we'll see. Let's have this as well. I do need to go and pick up some more acrylics, I think. More enamels. The AK range is one of my favourites. I do have a couple more, so let's just bust those out in a second, I think. Let's get a... I'm not overly fussed, to be honest, about how the feet and stuff are looking, because these are going to be hidden behind the cauldron anyway, aren't they? So, and we're going to have a background on it, like I say. Right. No, I tell you what, last bit. This is what happens when you start to do unplanned videos, guys. Things start falling all over the shop. Not ideal. Right. Okay. Bosh. Let's start to just layer something up a little bit more now. I want to get a bit more in there, a bit darker here. Do around the chef's hat a little bit. Right. Okay. I think we're in a fairly good position there. And now what I want to start to do as well is just overlap some of the colours here, because we're going to come right in with a makeup sponge, and as I say, this is the reductive technique, so we can add paint on, we can take paint off. This is one of the benefits of enamels and oils that I really like. Oils perhaps a little bit more because we get to blend and buff. I use those quite a lot with my Nurgle army, my Maggotkin. Let me know if you want to see some more of that. Bosh. Right, we've got some colour on this gent, let's bust out the next colour, shall we? Okay, before we get into the next part then, I'm going to use another couple of enamel colours. I'm enjoying it so far. This is what we're like. So we're about 10 minutes in. Let's have a look at some other colours we're going to use. Again, I'm going to use enamels for this. Why not? We've started, doesn't mean to go on. We'll get some other bits and pieces on there shortly, but I'm going to use like a sandy coloured enamel wash. Don't drop it. A dark brown, and obviously a black. That's going to help us give us the grey effect because, again, thinking about reductive, that's what we're going to do. Right, so sandy coloured wash. Let's use a bit of mineral spirit to keep my brush nice and clean. Let's just get this on. And it looks quite similar to the streaking grime. But let's not worry about that because, as I say, we can mix things together. And this is going to give us the underlayer for everything else. We are going to start to layer some effect on, and you can always add multiple layers to really start to build up the interest. So here we see, missed a little bit there, tip of that. Let's add some in his chest, just a little bit under his arms, just to give some more interest as well. I'm going to come back in with some colour later on, but bearing in mind what we talked about earlier, I want this to be lit predominantly from the glow that's going to be coming from the cauldron, yeah? So that's where we really want to start adding things. But to do that first, we've got to paint this, let him dry, and then come back in. Right, I think we're good. Shall we do a chef's hat? Let's do a chef's hat this colour, and then we'll add a little bit of black. I know I said we were going to do it grey, but oh well. And that'll give us a little bit of definition around his face. Wondrous. Cool, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that a lot. Let's give it a couple of minutes to dry. You can blast it with an airdryer if you want. I'm not going to, because I'm going to go and work on the other part of it now. So we'll put that to a side, and the cauldron. Now, I'm just going to use a bit of mixed medium here. So I'm going to use this same stone colour up on the cauldron, get a little bit of colour and definition in here. You see, I'm literally not doing anything. Boom. Easy as pie is this, isn't it? We're literally not doing anything hard at all. What about this spatula? Let's have it as a wooden spatula, and the rest we can figure out. How we're feeling about making this really dark metal. Should we put some rust on it? I don't know. You tell me. I mean, you can't, because this will be coming out after I've painted it. So you can't tell me, but that's what I'm thinking, guys. That's what I'm thinking right now. Perhaps we put a little bit of metallic on it. Should we do that? I think we should. So let's grab another couple of paints. Right, you don't need to see a close-up of me dry brushing anything, do you? You've seen me do it 1,000 times. If you've watched the channel, that is, I'm just going to use a dark gunmetal here. Big old dry brush. It's weird filming these like this, you know. This is like proper, just chatting to some friends. And let's, I'll come down here a little bit so at least you can see. Right, let's get this on. And I know we've got the zenithal highlight on this guy. Don't worry about it, because I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to slather it in verdigris in a minute. Why wouldn't do that? And then we're going to come back, I'm going to put some enamel on it. But when you say you've already painted half of it, well, I've not painted half of it. I've not painted something, but you can see already that we're starting to get that nice metallic glisten to it, but there's a lot of detail that we can easily bring out with a bit of verdigris. Now, I don't know which verdigris effect I'm going to use. However, I do know something that I am going to use because I bought it and I've never used it. So I'm going to give it a go on this project. And that's exactly why I want to do more stuff like this on the channel. I bought these inks ages ago, these Green Stuff World candy inks. So we're going to use that on the thing, because orange is very thematic, isn't it, for Halloween? Right, bosh, done. Look at that. We've got like it's super shiny. Looks really good. Let's age it. Shall we use some Dirty Downs verdigris, or shall we just use like Games Workshop verdigris? I don't know. Let's have a look. Come on. Okay, which paint shall we? I'm thinking perhaps the Dirty Downs verdigris. Or we have some Nailac Oxide somewhere around here. We got the Nailac Oxide down here. Which shall we use? This one or the verdigris? Let's see. I don't know. Let's use the Games Workshop one. Why not? Let's just use this one. Boom. Let's give it a quick shake, and we'll be good. Boop. I love using this. Makes me happy. Probably gonna get carpal tunnel syndrome from it. Yabaha. Hello, you're back. Look at us doing this in real time. I'm not sure how I feel about this video now, actually. If I put it out like this, it was just going to be a surprise video. Because I fancied it. But I don't know. Right. Where shall we go with this? I'm going to thin it down a little bit as well. Let's just slather it all over. Boo, 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 boo. Do. Good old slathering of Nailacs. I actually really like this technical paint. I think it was one of Games Workshop's best ones, you know, that they did. I'm not going to worry too much about the ladle and stuff on here because I can come back and pick out the details. What we'll do is we'll leave this to dry and we'll go back to working on our chef. It's a fairly warm room in here in the old studio, so it's drying fairly fast, but the use of an air dryer is really useful if you're using enamels or oils. Just be careful that you don't get too close and start melting the plastic, so be very conscious in that respect. I have made that mistake before myself, and it's not fun. It's a learning experience though, so I'm not sure. I'm not going to recommend you do it or not, but it's up to you. Right, okay, boom. Got verdigris effect on this. Now I know it looks super bright. Don't stress it, don't worry. I hear you say, everybody is just like, okay, boom, done. Next, let's leave him to dry. Let's have a look at this guy now. He's looking all right, isn't he? He's, considering we've literally just banged a couple of enamel paints over what was effectively a zenithal, is just nuts. I tell you what we'll do though, while we've got a little bit of that metallic still on my palette, I'm just going to pick out this this cleaver here. Okay, cleaver. Let's give it a little bit of metallic loving. Again, I'm not going to be overly precious about detail here because it's going to actually be behind the cauldron thing. I suppose we better think about base, aren't we? I'm kind of tempted just to do something fairly straightforward. I might even just do a black base on it with something behind it, you know, to really make him kind of like stand out. Right, okay. Are we in a good position with this guy? I think we're mostly in a good position. I feel we need to introduce a few more colours to him shortly. But let's get some black on him. That'll give us the definition. Then we'll come back and we'll do that. Okay. Right. Well, let's not even mess about. I'm not even going to bother cutting. Let's just smash out the enamel. Black this time. And you guessed it. I'm just going to go bang in there and start to put on a little bit of definition around the rope. And this is going to give me the deep shadows as well that I wanted. do around the eye. What colour shall we do the eye? I like yellow for my zombie eyes, to be honest, but I'm not sure in this case. We will have to see. And for the back of him, I am going to slather it. I say slather it. We are being selective where we're putting it for the most part. I'm being quite facetious when I say that, because it's, like I say, this is not a tutorial, this is just for funsies. And we might add a little bit of a resin effect as well, perhaps, so it looks like he's pouring some blood or something out of this chalice, skull thing. Skull cup, skull Edgine doofer, I don't know. Right, okay. We have ended up just going all over with this, haven't we, really? But it's okay, we can take some off. We are definitely going to put some blood effects on shortly as well. I'm just going to add a little bit more there. Okay, right, I think we're good. Let's leave him dry for a few minutes. And you should be able to start to see now, I mean, it looks a little bit of a mess, but once we start to take some of this colour off, and we do start to add in a couple of blood splatter effects, a little bit more colour using some inks around his face and such, we're going to be in a really good position for something that's literally taking us minutes. I mean, this is just super fast, fun little paint job. For something that's just low risk. I don't know why I don't do this more, you know. I really am forgetting how to hobby, and it's becoming a chore. Okay. Boom. Is this dry yet? No. Need to wait a little bit longer for this to dry, and then we'll come back in with some metals. So, right. Couple of minutes time. Let's shake up this orange and get the top part painted, shall we? I noticed as well, I have yellow. I have one of these yellow Green Stuff World candy inks and an orange. This seems to have a ball in it. This one, I'm not convinced about. I'm not sure these will be good. I've had them like years now. I've never opened them. Let's try. Here we go. Orange first. I'm not even sure what to expect here. All right, okay. Oh, it looks like it's broken down a little bit inside there. That is fairly orange though, and we can use a little bit of the yellow as well, perhaps. That little bit of black in there looks like it's okay. That's fairly bright. They are inks. I'm not sure what they're supposed to be used for, to be totally honest. But let's find out. Let's see how they look on our cauldron. Obviously, as we always do, I've already worked up here from the white, as I said in my preamble. So I'm just going to put a bit of the yellow. Okay, that's not as bright as I was expecting. Put that a little bit around there. Boom. Into here. Don't worry, we'll come back in later on and we can start to feather it out and such. If we fancy it, I don't know. I'm not even fussed about the end result of this. Like I say, we don't really have any intention for it. I'm just fun, just experimenting. Right, okay. The orange. Let's have a... Ooh, okay, that is a little bit brighter than I expected for this one. But it's not as bright. I wonder how this would run through the airbrush. Because this is just... It's not how I would have expected it, to be honest. I am going quite thin, so adding a little bit more saturation to it there. Perhaps we need to come back in with some white just to kind of start to build up the brightness of it. Not convinced, guys. Not convinced at all. But that's okay, isn't it? I'm putting the yellow with it. Let's put it in the corners. Let's see if we can get this spread out a little bit. And we do want to have the edges darker. As we've talked about with glows before, I mean, it's something that I do need to talk about a little bit more in detail, I guess. It's not necessarily the brightest part that reads the colour, because that is, I suppose technically it's overexposed, isn't it? So we'll see how that works. Let's get a little bit of a glow on here. And perhaps this is what we use on some of the zombie as well. We'll see how that goes. Right. I'm thinking we're definitely going to have to come in with the airbrush for this, guys. But that's not a problem. Bit of white in the airbrush. Yeah. Where's that come from? What is this? Where's this colour come from? What's going on? Oh, dear me. This is not looking good. Can we get this off? What is happening there? Oh dear. Oh dear. Right, we can fix that, but let's not worry. We're starting to get a nice blend. I think the undercoat's coming off there. Because we're super, super thin with the white paint. Not a problem though. Right. Boom. Done. Let's put this to the side for a moment and let's work on this guy. Let's dry brush him a little bit more. We've still got the metallic on his palette. Super fast. Right, here we go. Straight back in. Boom. Verdigris Central. And that is working. An absolute treat. Exactly what we wanted, isn't it? Exactly how we expected it to come out. I really like Games Workshop's Nailac Oxide. Is it Nailac? Is that how I pronounce it? I don't know. Who can say? Games Workshop's Verdigris. Definitely should use it more in my project. Perhaps in some of the 40k stuff I've got coming up. I'm really excited to paint Belisarius Call. I want to do a diorama with him, so if you're interested in that, you might have some luck. Right, we'll pick out some details in another colour, I think. Oh, this is actually looking alright now. These inks are drying fairly nice and bright, other than that big old spot there that we put on. But we can fix that. Totally easy enough to fix. I want to come in with this with some black enamel. Let's bust out the black enamel again. Happy times with the black enamel. Boom. Let's get some of this on there. I'm not sure how this will go down with the verdigris. We'll find out though. We'll find out together. It's a good experiment. Just want to stay away from the top. And this is the benefit of not using the dirty downs as well, because the dirty downs would reactivate with moisture. Whereas this is just going to give us a little bit more darkness. Boom. Let's let that dry. And we'll come back to it forthwith. Okay, let's while this is drying, let's fix it. Bit of white ink, I think now. Just going to use the same palette. Tiny bit of white ink. And let's just see. Perfect. Now I'm just going to go around some of the other elements in here. I'm not too fussed about the colours mixing together, to be honest. It's not something that we care about right now. Let's get these bubbles, and this will hopefully start to introduce some brighter spots. And it's just nice and easy. Like there's no skill involved at all in this. This is literally just me recording myself, having fun. I think I'm having fun anyway. I hope so. Are you having fun? Let me know down in the comments. Like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. I know this is utterly different to the type of content that I try to put out. Grab a couple of cotton buds and we can attack our zombie. Zombie attacks are the best sort of attacks, I find. Now, I'm not hating how he looks. Start to take some off. And because we're not into the drying process. He's doing all right. Take a bit off that skull. And right, so what I want to do is I'm going to go upwards, because that's where the light is going to be cast from the cauldron. So let's get some of that off of there. And we want to let this properly dry then at this point, because we need to come back in with the acrylics and start to do the actual highlighting. This is just the foundation, as I said. Then we can start to make some real progress on it, now that all of the easy stuff, I suppose, has been done. Well, then the rest of it isn't going to be easy. It's going to be super fast. Just got a slightly moist cotton bud here. You can use a makeup sponge. You'll have seen people do this sort of technique a lot of time. There's way better tutorials out there. So let me know if you want me to do one, actually, because this is a technique that I've used quite a lot on some of my stuff. Great. Okay. I'm happy with where we are now. We've got a nice green tinge to him. We're looking good. He's looking dirty. He's looking like he's a zombie chef. Let's get some colour on him, in fact, now. Let's just do it now. Shall we use oils, or shall we use acrylics, or shall we use inks? Let's use acrylic inks. Yeah, let's do that. Right, inks then. Got a red, got a purple, and we've got a blue. That'll do. Just gonna bang a little bit in a little bit of mixing tray thing. Anything will do. You could use your wet palette if you wanted, but I'm not too fussed about using a wet palette for this right now. And I think this, we're just gonna put on in a fairly haphazard manner. I'll tell you what we are gonna do though, very quickly. See inside this skull here. We've got some of that enamel in there. I want to try and get some of that out, just so they'll dry a little bit faster. Let's see if we can get a bit of sponge in there or something. Cool. Right. Now, the reason being, I want to put some white in there in a minute. Okay, right. Let's make this zombie skin look a little bit more zombie. That's a total, definite total phrase there. Right, okay. Wet brush. First thing, purple. And I want to get this in the shadows, so a bit around his neck. Arm creases. Then you'll start to see that it'll interact with the wet enamel paint. And it'll start to kind of pool in some places and just pull into others away from it. And that's absolutely fine. This is not the most precise thing we're doing, but also it's a zombie. And purple does work for shadows on green really well. It's if you've seen my orc video that I did for my friend a while back, you'll see I built up the greens from a purple there as well. Okay, right, bit of blue. I'm just going to bring a little bit of blue down to the bottom, and I'm going to remove some of this in a second. Now, again, around the head. I could do with letting this dry a little bit more, to be totally honest, because we are just getting a little bit too much interaction. And I should have definitely stuck him down, shouldn't I? This is not going well. Who can say where blood's coming out of this guy? but we are going to get some blood splatter on him in a bit. Now, because the red will actually start to really pull attention because there's no other colours on it quite like this, I don't want to overuse it, because we want to draw the viewer's eye up to the face, because we're going to put a little bit more effort in a little while. But as you can see, it's starting now to look a little bit more zombie. Ooh, got a bit blurred of vision. Right. We definitely need to let this guy dry a little bit now, because we are going to do some other bits and pieces to him later on, including some dried blood effects. Let's just get a bit of blood in there, in fact. May as well come back with some white and just highlight around these straps just to separate the skin a little bit. But one of the things that is to note and was somewhat deliberate is not waiting until the enamel was totally dry before coming in with some of the acrylics. And the reason there being, it causes the acrylic to bead and give you a really nice, natural, mottled blood effect. Right, cool. We need to wait for him to dry now properly. Back over to this. How are we getting on with it? Bit more white. Where's his white? Boom. Back over here. I say boom a lot, don't I? I don't know where this has come from all of a sudden, but it's an interesting one. Okay, let's... I'm not sold on this. I kind of wish I'd have done this with the airbrush. I've not decided yet if I am going to come back with the airbrush and do it. But I'm thinking I might do. It feels like something that I want to do, but I'm not sure if that's kind of outside of the scope of what I want to achieve in this video. Because it's a super quick paint job, isn't it? So, and it's not meant to be anything other than fun, as I've said. I don't even know if I'm going to leave this voiceover in yet. Perhaps I'll record another one. Who knows? How are we feeling about this? I'm not feeling great, I'm not going to lie. But we'll see. We'll see. Right, let's leave that one there for now, and come back to it in a minute. Quick intermission while we're waiting for this to dry. If you're enjoying some more super authentic content where I've not done any sort of preparation, I just picked the model because it was Halloween, let me know down in the comments. Like and subscribe, all of that stuff. This has been a genuinely enjoyable one, and hopefully it's going to turn out all right. I'm not convinced yet, but it's still drying. It's still drying. I've had a coffee. He's getting there. I was going to put a background on it, but I'm not sure that that's going to be the right thing to do for this guy. So I might just go with a simple, just completely black base bit of plastic art on the top and just spray it black and see how that looks. But we'll see. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments, but let's get back to it, I suppose. All right. So looking at the guy, I'm not happy with him, so I'm just going to come in with a little bit of a darker wash over the straps. Just exactly as we did before, and I'm going to use it like that dark brown enamel that we talked about earlier, just to kind of make that stand out a little bit more and give some separation from the head and the hat to frame the face for the next step. But it's literally just picking out those detail. Yeah, it's separating the content into different spaces, basically. You want to kind of give enough visual flair, I suppose. Yeah, that works now. We've got a nice separation between his skin tone and everything else. There we go. It reads a little bit better, doesn't it? Okay. Now we'll let him dry. Okay, so he's had a little bit of a chance to dry, and I think he's looking looking fairly good, to be honest. So we can start to add a few little pieces of effect to them, I think. And the first thing we want to do is get some gore on there. So the lighting is going to be the last effect that we want to put on from this cauldron. So in that regard then, oh no, he's dead again. So in that regard, let's get some blood on this guy. Dried blood then, how are we going to do it? Well, we're going to use this War Paint Fanatic from the Army Painter. Dry blood effect, and what I do with it is I use a can of compressed air and a paper clip. I get my paper clip, I put that in my paint, boom, and then this is going to be difficult to show with on this one, but I'm going to get it just in front here, and I'm just going to blast the compressed air at it, and perfect. You can use a brush as well, obviously, but I prefer the effect that I get from this sort of effect. You'll see in the reveal, it's subtle, but it works. You can do as much or as little as you like. So I want a little bit more in his face. And here we are. Hopefully that is in focus. It's hard to tell at the moment. So he's starting to look good. We need to get some OSL on there and just finish his face off and decide what colour we're going to do his eye. And we're going to use that yellow ink, I think, for his eye. So let's just do that now. I think I'm going to come in with the yellow, but I'm going to use a tiny little bit. You can drop down brush sizes if you need to here. Just to get a little bit of white in his eye. And then just come in with a little bit of yellow on top of it, and that'll just give that a little bit of a pop. We're almost there with this guy now. Let's look back at his cauldron then, shall we? We're not 100% are we sold on this. I'm definitely not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix a little bit of water in with this orange ink that we've got still on his palette. I was going to airbrush this, but you know, I really can't be bothered today. So let's just have some fun with it. And I'm going to come back in. I'm just going to glaze orange on everything. So where we've had the white, it should pop through a little bit brighter. And it is. Perfect. Perfect, that's giving us way more of the effect that I was hoping for. And I'm just going to glaze over the top of the skull and the skeleton. You can come back in with the yellow and just add a few little highlights here and there. And that's all I'm doing. Right, the final thing then is to do a little bit of OSL on our actual skeleton. Oh, I know what we forgot. Silly me. Right, we need a little bit on the rim as well. And perhaps we'll pick out as a ladle in a different colour in a minute. But we'll see. Definitely get in there with it. Oh, I need to stop dropping stuff, don't I? Darn arthritis. Okay, right, let's... Final bit of yellow. Just to sell it. Okay, right, all I'm going to do is I'm going to thin this out and basically use it as a glaze. Almost as if I was using an airbrush. I'm not going to use too much. And over his face, but upwards. Definitely over this skull part. On all of this looking like It's getting the reflection, getting the glow, sorry, from that cooking pot, that tasty, tasty, tasty concoction. This chap's cooking up there. Now, I'm going to come back in with the white, and I am going to start working on top of this. Just starting to pick out the edges, just the higher points on this skull, obviously, that we've talked about. And this entire process has been fairly easy, hasn't it? I mean, there's been nothing. All we've done is play, really. It's been nothing difficult at all about anything we've done here. A lot of it's been reductive, so putting paint on and taking paint off. A lot of it's been just super imprecise. You could even come down here if you want to, put a bit of highlight on his belt. Perhaps we want to pick out these straps a little bit. A little bit of edge highlighting, never hurt anybody, did it? It's looking quite gruesome. I'm enjoying it a lot. And you can do as little or as much as this as you like, really. I mean, it's actually more fun doing it like this than it is with an airbrush, I would say. Just picking out the creases, opportunity to mess around with micro textures, I suppose. It's seems to be my word of the week of late. Micro textures here, micro textures there. But this is kind of what sells the OSL, the glow. You don't necessarily need an airbrush to do it. I mean, in fact, you really don't need an airbrush to do the majority of effects. You can do everything with a paintbrush if you want. It's just going to take you way more time in it. But sometimes that's not a problem. If you're actually enjoying your process, then why not, eh? It's just no harm in it whatsoever. Having a little bit of fun and enjoying the hobby, enjoying the process, enjoying painting. I know it's not for everybody. Some folk do just want to army paint, and that's absolutely fine too. Right, okay. So obviously we want this to be a little bit brighter, where it's closer to the glow. So here we go. Let's just put a bit more of that orange glaze over the top. That white should show through. Just help brighten it up a little bit. Tip of this gentleman's nose, his brow, up to the top of the hat, over his brow there. Come in with a little bit of the yellow, and that'll just brighten it up even more. And over the top of the browns that we've already established there, it really starts to come to life quite easily. I'm not hating these Green Stuff World inks things, these candy inks. They seem alright, and I think we're almost about there. Let's get this guy based behind his cauldron, pick out a couple of those details on said cauldron, and I think we can have a look at how this guy turned out. I hope you enjoyed it. What did you think? I really enjoyed doing this guy. I had a really good time. Just an hour or so, painting something in a different style using different techniques to what I normally do. And I feel refreshed. I want to tackle some more projects. I've got Vordry to finish off. I've got some orcs to do, and then I'm on to some spearheads, the Realm of Battle boards, and some other really exciting projects that I just cannot wait to get on with now that I'm done with that wider project of the Slaves to Darkness. That doesn't mean that the videos are finished though. Oh no, those are going to carry on coming, probably into early next year. I hope you'll join me for them. I really enjoyed getting those out of the way, and I'm so excited to share some of the bigger centerpiece models with you. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great Halloween, and whatever you do, don't be too scared tonight.